What a beautiful day. If only it wasn't bogged down by trying to think of this new video. It's not like I don't have ideas, I just don't know how to execute any of them. If you got any brilliant ideas, now's as good a time as any to share. That's what I thought.
These weekday names piss me off so bad. Firstly, Monday is the day where literally everyone is depressed.
What does that have to do with the names?
Secondly, Friday has the name of a literal food.
What, you mean fries?
Thirdly, Saturday has the name of a planet, and Sunday has the name of a star.
I mean, I guess.
Every day I look back and think of how annoying the current names of the days of the week are.
What? Hello everybody, welcome to a video. One of them. On the internet. This is one of the videos. Now, this video was suggested by Tails in my Discord server, so make sure to join that using the link in the description. But so many of you suggested this on the comments section of the last video where I renamed the months of the year using a bunch of different methods. So I figured, why the hell not? Let's fix the names of the days of the week. But before we do that, why are the days of the week named what they are? Hey guys, it's me, Professor Pixel, and I'm back again to explain, more or less, why the days of the week are named what they are. So to start, we have Sunday and Monday, which, you guessed it, are named after the sun and the moon. Come on, guys, we all know what the mun is. These two are about as simplistic as it gets, because the rest of the days are named after mythological figures from multiple different cultures. I don't know why we couldn't just pick a lane and stick with it. So for most of these, the Romans named the days after various gods of their own, but then a whole bunch of Germanic and Norse people came in and said, hey, so like, no. And so to start, we have Tuesday, which was originally based on Mars, the god of war. Why do we keep naming so many things after this guy? Romans, hey, hi, I get it. We love bloodshed and killing and violence and bloodshed, but we do not need a planet, a month, and an entire day of the week named after this guy. The Norse equivalent of Mars is the god Tyr, which resulted in Tyr's Day. Tyr's Day? Tuesday. Tyr's Day? Tuesday. Do you see the resemblance? Yeah, me neither, but it's close enough, I guess. Wednesday comes from the Roman god Mercury, who's close enough to the Norse god Odin, who's close enough to the Germanic god Woden. And so my guess is that they just passed off the idea to one person too many that had bad handwriting, and Woden became Wens somehow. Thursday is based on the Old English word Thunor, which means thunder, which came from the Roman god of thunder, Jupiter. His Norse equivalent is, of course, Thor, but then for some reason we ridiculed him and turned him into Thur. What a stupid name. Anyway, yeah, Thursday. Friday comes from the Anglo-Saxon. Really, guys? Why are we throwing a fourth group into the mix? Friday comes from the Anglo-Saxon goddess Frigg, who is also Norse? I don't know, man. I'm so confused. This is a do-your-own-research kind of situation. Regardless, Frigg is similar to the Roman goddess Venus, whom the day is originally named after. I'm gonna be so for real. Why do we keep using duplicate names? Like, have you seen Roman mythology? They have a god or goddess for everything. Why are we giving so much attention to the same 12? Like, who cares? Lastly, Saturday is based on the Roman god Saturn, which then got turned into... Oh, no, actually, that's pretty much it. It's just named after Saturn. So, all in all, despite there being less days of the week than months of the year, their origin is infinitely more confusing to me, and I don't understand an ounce of this. This has been Professor Pixel, or whatever. To start, let's do what we did last time and rearrange the days of the week with their existing names, but in a way that makes them more accurate. Sunday would start the week because the sun rises and starts the day, which also, by the way, is what the normal beginning of the week is, because as I worded it in this video...
Let's just start from the beginning of the week, and I'll try to explain as I go. Which means we're going to start with Sunday. Some people say that Monday is the beginning of the week. Those people are probably right, but I'm I'm too stubborn to acknowledge that.
So for the rest of this video, unless otherwise specified, I'll be operating under the assumption that Sunday is the first day of the week. The second day of the week would be Tuesday, because Tuesday is based on a god of war. And I don't know about you, but when I start the work week, I'm tired and angry and ready to come out the gate swinging. And spelling-wise, Tuesday would remain the same throughout the world, except for in Britain, where they would call it Tuesday. Was that low-hanging fruit? Absolutely, but low-hanging fruit is fruit nonetheless. The third day of the week would be Thursday, because statistically, Tuesday is normally the stormiest day of the week, and being that Tuesday is the third day of the week, we would switch that out for Thursday, because Thursday is named after thunder. Wednesday would stay in the same spot, but we would change its spelling to Wednesday. Because, of course, we would. Don't tell me you're gonna disagree with that. And as for the reason it stays in the middle of the week, actually, can we bring Professor Pixel back? Hey guys, it's me, Professor Pixel, I guess. I'm not really sure anymore, nor do I care all that much, but Wednesday was traditionally referred to as midweek by the Germans, Low Germans, Icelanders, and Finnish. So, wait, actually, no, wait.
That means that if Wednesday is the middle of the week, then Sunday does begin the week, so I was right all along! Take that, all you stuck-up Monday insisters! If we're calling the days of the week by what they were originally named, then by that logic, Wednesday's the middle of the week and Sunday's the first day of the week, which means I was right all along for being a Monday denier. So will you admit it? Will you finally admit that I was right all along, or will you continue to live in your ignorant bubble of Sunday being the end of the week?
Hey man. I agree, but let's calm down a little. Friday would be the fifth day of the week because since Wednesday was associated with Odin in Norse mythology and Frigg is also Friday, who is also Odin's wife, they gotta be next to each other. The sixth day of the week would be Saturday. I don't know why, it just kind of ends up here by chance. And the seventh and last day of the week would be Monday because the moon rises and ends the day. So you kind of have the week bundled up into this nice little metaphor for one day, if that makes sense. Okay, now that that's out of the way, what's the most obvious thing that we can do to fix the names of the days of the week? Well, they all end in day, so why don't we start by changing that? Sunday would become sunup because the sun rises to start the week. We already did this. Monday would stay Monday. It's too infamous. It needs to keep its name. Tuesday would become Tucson. Yes, like Tucson, Arizona. Yeah. For Wednesday, because Wedness is being pronounced Wens, it makes it sound like it should be named after a gem or mineral or something. So, Wednesday, which one day, maybe, whenever I get around to writing some fictional story, it'll be like the god material that every story has to include for some reason. Step aside, Vibranium. Move out of the way, Dimeridium. We have Wednesday now. Thursday would become Thursday because it still, like, relatively keeps in line with Thursday's vibes while also kind of being its own thing. Anything else I could come up with just didn't sound right. Okay, hear me out. Friday is always the celebratory day of the week. So instead of Friday, we do Friday. Sometimes my genius is almost frightening. And then Saturday would become Sattersurf. I don't have a reason for that other than I just thought it sounded cool. What else? Well, seeing that 5 out of 7 days of the week are named after gods or goddesses from ancient cultures, what if we swapped each one out for a different god or goddess from the same culture? Sunday and Monday would remain the same because the sun and moon are, I'm pretty sure, the same around the world. For Tuesday, instead of using Tyr from Norse mythology, I decided to go with Heimdall from Norse mythology, so Tuesday would become Heimsday. For Wednesday, which is named after Odin slash Woden slash whatever the hell, I decided to take Loki from Norse mythology and turn him into Wednesday. That's your leak for the next Marvel movie. Loki goes into a machine and turns into Wednesday, and that's pretty much the movie. Honestly, it sounds better than what the MCU is making nowadays anyway. Anyways, Wednesday would become Loki's day, so Locke's day. And a fun little bonus reason for why it's named that is like, Wednesday does not sound like Woden's day, so Loki's day would not sound like Loki's day, it'd sound like Locke's day. It just, like, the pronunciation changes completely for some reason. Thursday would stay Thursday, but instead of being named after Thor, it would get named after the god Thuther. Look at this. How am I supposed to pronounce this? I'm a dumb American. I don't know shit. Friday, instead of being named after Frigg or Freya, would be named after Vidar. I don't know how to say these names, okay? Don't get upset at me, please. So it would become Vidday. And then Saturday, because it's named after the Roman god Saturn, would get changed. Wait, isn't Saturn a Titan? And then Saturday, named after the Roman deity Saturn, would get renamed to Faun's Day, renamed after the Roman god Fauns. Now you might be asking me, who's Fauns? And this is what I've been saying, is we gotta give some recognition to the underrated gods. So I went with Fauns, the god of wells and springs. Can you imagine being a god and you're buds with all these important guys like Jupiter and Uranus and Neptune? And you're stuck with the power of wells and springs? Poor guy, man. Moving right along, you know a group of something else that also helps us keep track of the passing of time? The months of the year. But you don't see any of them ending in month, do you? So on that note, let's rename the days of the week as if they're months. Sunday would become Suntober. Monday would become Munuary. That sounds actually, I don't like how that sounds saying it out loud now. Tuesday would become Toost. You know why? No, I don't know either. I just thought it sounded funny. Wednesday would become Wenzember. Thursday would become Thirst. Again, I don't know why, it just sounded funny. For Friday, think like May or July. So Friday would literally just become Fry. And then for Saturday, I know none of the months end in just the letter N, but because a lot of them are named after pre-existing Roman gods, Saturday would just become Saturn because it's just named after one of the Roman deities. So it already kind of fits in a weird altruistic way. I don't know where I pulled the word altruistic from. I just wanted to say it. It probably doesn't make any sense in the context of that sentence, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna roll with it. That's what we do here on the channel. We roll with it. Like a boulder. Those roll sometimes. Speaking of the months, some of them are named according to their numerical order, like September, October, November, and December. So let's do that for the days of the week. This is one of those exceptions where Monday would begin the week because, well, day one of the week would be oh so cleverly named one day, and then the second day of the week, instead of being called Tuesday, it would be called Tuesday. I'm so smart. If it wasn't formatted this way, it would really get under my skin. So that's why I've chosen to make Monday the first day of the week in this instance. Wednesday would become 2.5's day. Spelled exactly like that. But why would Wednesday be 2.5's day? Why wouldn't it be 3's day or try's day or something? Well, because Thursday being third's day makes a lot more sense. The problem is that Thursday's the fourth day of the week in this schedule, not the third. But what I neglected to mention is that it's not spelled third's day, it's spelled third plus one's day. But the plus one is silent, so you would just pronounce it third's day. You're playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Friday would be 5 day, Saturday would be 6ter day, and then Sunday would be sept day. The last three were kind of unoriginal, but it all works out in the end. Okay, that's if their names were numbered, but what if the days of the week were numbers? Again, for this one, we'll start with Monday. Monday would become the number 1, Tuesday would become the number 2, but Wednesday doesn't feel like the number 3. Wednesday feels like the number 7, but then Thursday feels like the number 4, so I guess that is kind of Wednesday's fault for screwing this up. But then Friday jumps the gun way ahead of schedule and feels like the number 100. Saturday feels like a 77, but not in the sense where it's like a double Wednesday. It just feels like the 77's a nice number. So, and Saturday's a nice day. I gotta give a nice number to a nice day. You know, that just kind of works out like that. And then I don't really know why, but Sunday feels like the number 20. I mean, I don't really know why for any of these, but for Sunday in particular, it's like kind of the most arbitrary. Pulling it back a little, a more normal link between the days of the week and numerical digits is found in the times of day which occur during the days of the week. But let's make it stupid and assign a specific time of day to each day of the week. Sunday as a day feels like 10 a.m. Kind of a slow, lazy morning, but not like a super great time because you know that tomorrow is Monday. Monday feels like 8:30 a.m., a time by which everyone's in school or at work, and you just kind of want to not exist. Tuesday feels like a more relaxed 9:45 a.m. because usually by this point you've settled into your day and you're kind of ready for what's coming. Wednesday, just because Wednesday's so cool, gets the highly respected 12:34 p.m. because 1, 2, 3, 4 is somehow synonymous with Wednesday for me. Thursday, because it's just such a gross day, gets a gross time. And For some reason, what I've labeled on my script as the grossest time is 1:51 p.m. But it could also be 1:52 p.m. For those of you that use a 24-hour clock, that's 13:51 or 13:52. Friday, on the other hand, feels like 5:55 p.m. or 6 p.m. Both times that are like, if you're not off work, you're usually pretty close to the end of it, and you're just ready for the weekend. For those of you using a 24-hour clock, that would be 15:55 or 16 o'clock. I know those aren't the same times as 5:55 or 6 p.m. That's just what it feels, even though they're different times, but the numbers feel the same. And then Saturday, being the coolest day of the week, gets the incredibly swag 11:11 a.m. I also really like the way this one worked out, because if you do say that Monday is the first day of the week and move Sunday to the end of the week, the work days are like a regular day's schedule. Like, it starts at 8:30, then goes to 9:45, then noon, a little afternoon, and then evening. Like, I don't know, it just worked out that way, I guess. That's one of them funky coinky dinks. That's a phrase I just said out loud. If that's what the days of the week feel like as times, then what would they feel like as colors? Well, for those of you that watched this video, you already know what I think. But for those of you that didn't watch this video, why didn't you watch this video? Is something wrong with you, or? Sunday feels like a chill, relaxed blue. Monday, instead of being an aggressive, aggravating red, is for some reason a very bright purple. Then Tuesday gets the bright, aggravating red, but not because it's more aggressive than Monday. That's just the color it feels like. Wednesday gets a deep, dark, bright blue. Dark, bright blue. That's an oxymoron, but like, that's the best way I can describe it. Thursday gets a hot orange. Friday gets a happy sunny yellow. And Saturday gets an obnoxiously bright cyan. Help me, I'm going to go blind. Days of the week, colors, drawing, designing. What if I designed symbols for the days of the week? Hi, we're gonna do something a little weird and begin with Saturday instead of Sunday. Both because Saturday was the first one I actually made, and because Sunday makes a lot more sense if you've seen Saturday first. Saturday is based off of the Roman deity Saturn, but what do we know as Saturn? The planet. So why not make the design a planet? And what is Saturn most known for? Its rings. And so, I know that's just a line, it's not actually rings, but use your imagination a little bit. This one's good, and it works, and I like it as Saturday. And I also had the cool idea that both of the days of the weekend would just have circles as their symbols. And so seeing that Saturday has one big horizontal line, what would Sunday have? Vertical lines. And this one doesn't really make a lot of sense, nor does it have a lot of meaning behind it, but I like the contrast of the weekend being similar by both being circles, but being different by it being circles lines. I got 5 hours of sleep, cut me some slack. But I like the idea of the weekend being two circles that just have differently oriented. I got 5 hours of sleep. But I like the idea of the weekend days both being circles, but just having differently oriented lines on them. And so Saturday is Saturn, it has the ring, of course, but Sunday is just vertical line. I don't know, it just worked out that way. Monday is evil. And a kind of trope or symbol commonly associated with evil is something sharp and spiky. So what if we just made Monday a spike? No, that's not enough. It's an M. This doesn't just showcase the rigidness of Monday, it's also an M for Monday. It's simple, but it's good. That's not the phrase. It's simple but effective. That's what I meant to say. Similarly, Thursday. I'm can't even mess up my take and then make a joke about messing up my take. I have to mess up messing up my take. Similarly, Tuesday begins with a T, and so I think the top of our symbol should have a T. But what should the bottom look like? That. And I don't have any reasoning as to why, I just think that that's what it should look like. This feels like a Tuesday to me. Kind of. It's in the ballpark. I think this makes more sense if I just jump to Thursday immediately. God, we are skipping all around the week. This has zero structure to it. Well, of course, Thursday also begins with a T, so we'll start with the same upper half of the symbol. But for the bottom half, let's do that. Now, individually, these don't make sense. They just have a T on the top of each, just like Tuesday and Thursday. And so the bottom halves aren't really there to represent anything about each day individually. They're just there. And that's the whole they're just there. They're just there to make them feel like a symbol instead of just the letter T. I do think that each of these feel distinctly like the day that they're meant to represent, though. Now, you'd think we'd go to Wednesday next, but I don't want to, so we're gonna do Friday. Now, just like how Tuesday and Thursday share the same top half, Thursday and Friday share the same bottom half. But of course, Friday doesn't begin with a T, it begins with an F. But I'm also just not gonna put an F on top, so I don't know, I just did what felt cool. I think this feels like Friday, I think this feels like Thursday, and I like that they share the same bottom half because they're right next to each other on the week. On the week, in the week. Lastly, we have Wednesday. All of these take up the same amount of space, that being like kind of a box of a text character, similar to how like how much space an O takes up. That's pretty much how much space all of these take up. Wednesday, because it's such a big word, takes up the space of 2 O's. And Wednesday begins with W. So, I mean, that is just a sideways E, but now it isn't. But I'm not just gonna do this by itself. So let's throw in a circle. And I didn't realize this until I started recording now, but I really like this, because it's not the size of a full circle like Saturday or Sunday. It's a mini circle, a half circle, a lowercase o, if you will. On either end of the week, you have a big circle, and then right in the middle, you get a little circle. And I don't really know what that means, but it just feels like it makes sense. So if you write them out with Monday beginning the week, it looks like this. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with these. I don't really know that there would be any use case for them in writing, but I like designing symbols, and designing symbols for days of the week sounded fun. Hi, I'm back. I know you're all disappointed. What if I were to rank the days of the week? Obviously, at spot number 1 would be Saturday. It's almost always a day you get off, and it's not a day before a weekday, and it's a day after Friday. So it's literally optimal placement for anything, and you're gonna tell me it's not the best day of the week? Spot number 2 goes to Friday, because you know you have the whole weekend ahead of you, and who doesn't love partying on a Friday? Spot number 3 goes to Sunday, because yes, it is a weekend day, but it's also the last weekend day, and then you know the whole week is ahead of you again, and it's kind of bittersweet, but it's not bad. I'd give spot number 4 to Wednesday, because it's the middle of the week. It's kind of just like a feel-good day, generally, for me at least. Spot number 5 goes to Tuesday. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Spot number 6, and you probably saw this coming, goes to Monday. Do I need to say why? Come on, I will say Garfield did buy some stock in this list, so the shareholders do have a little bit of sway here, but not like a crazy amount. And then the last day of the week, and this is definitely a hot take, is Thursday. I'm a Thursday hater, and I'm entirely willing to admit that this is probably based on a childhood experience of mine. Let me tell you a story. In my elementary school, we went to school from Monday to Friday, with Friday being the day we got off. So, of course, everybody loved Friday. However, Wednesday was also a day everybody liked. Not because it was just Wednesday, but because we got out early on Wednesdays, about an hour earlier than normal. So of course, I grew to like Wednesday, and I grew to like Friday, because who doesn't like getting out early, and who doesn't like getting out for the weekend? This put Thursday in a bit of a tough spot, because it needs to live up to Friday's hype, while also being the day in which we return to our normal schedule. And as unfair to Thursday as this probably is, I ended up hating Thursday, because you're telling me I'm done with Wednesday, and then the day after I need to go back to our regular long schedule? That's no fun. But at least I have the weekend tomorrow. Oh no, because tomorrow's Friday, so I still have another day of school to get through. Well, that's not great either. Having the knowledge that tomorrow you still have to go to school one more time, and the day before you got out early, and now you're gonna be stuck here an extra hour, really bogged down Thursday for me. And I think things have happened since then that might have influenced me to hating Thursday as well, but I think if I had to whittle it down, that's the fundamental reason. Is it an entirely personal experience and one that ultimately doesn't really relate to Thursday the day? Yeah, but that's why I hate Thursday. I can't really change the reason. So, to loop it all back around, that's all to say, I'm a Thursday hater. In fact, I'm the Thursday hater. If Thursday has 100 haters, I'm one of them. If Thursday has 1 hater, it's me. And if Thursday has 0 haters, then I'm dead. Sorry, I kind of went on like a weird Thursday hate tirade there, but anyway, there are multiple groups of things out there that consist specifically of 7 things. 7 days of the week, 7 things. Do you see where I'm going with this? Let's start with an easygoing, straightforward one.
The 7 deadly sins.
Sunday, being part of the weekend, and culturally in Christianity being the day of rest, gets sloth. Sloth is, of course, the sin of laziness. And while I like to think I'm lazy, well, I guess I don't like to think that I'm lazy, but I think I'm lazy for all 7 days of the week, but I feel like I'm laziest on Sunday, which is especially weird because I'm recording this on Sunday. So I guess I'm not being lazy. This had nothing to do with me. I don't know why I brought all this up. Monday is kind of universally hated, and just like nobody likes it. And hatred, anger, rage, that's the sin of wrath right there. And on Monday can taste my wrath. Taste my wrath? Feel my wrath. What taste? I don't have much wrath. But if I did, Monday would feel it. Monday starts the work week. And at the end of Monday, you've worked the whole day. So tell me why you need to go back to work the next day. It sounds like you just want more money. Sounds like you're greedy. Of course, I'm joking. I know you guys aren't greedy for going to work and earning your fair share, but I needed a reason to put Tuesday as greed, and so that's what I came up with. Wednesday is the middle of the week, and it's just this big freaking word. So Wednesday gets gluttony. It ate all the other letters or something, I don't know. Thursday, going back to why I hate Thursday, is placed between 2 of the coolest days of the week. And so I'd be willing to say that Thursday's a bit jealous. I think Thursday's feeling a bit of envy. It's jealous of Friday, and it's jealous of Wednesday. I didn't really know what to give Friday. I also did not know where to put lust. That's a weird sin to prescribe to one of the 7 days of the week. More so than all the others, so Friday gets lust. I guess Friday's also like the party day, so you could make an excuse there or something, I don't know. And then Saturday gets pride. I don't really have any words to describe why Saturday is pride, but I know that Saturday is pride. Like, it feels right to me. I just can't put it into words. But you know what I'm talking about, right? 7 deadly sins. What about the 7 seas? Sunday would be the Southern Ocean, because it's kind of a chill blue, and I actually don't... Is the Southern Ocean or the Arctic Ocean colder? I actually don't know. Monday would be the Arctic Ocean, because Monday's terrible, and the Arctic Ocean is freezing and frigid and cold and freezing, and Tuesday just kind of gives off cool vibes. And the Atlantic Ocean kind of gives off cool vibes, so Tuesday gets the Atlantic Ocean. Wednesday is the longest day of the week name. Mediterranean is the longest sea name. So that just those kind of link up for me. Thursday gets the Indian Ocean, Friday gets the Red Sea, and then Saturday gets the Pacific Ocean. 7 seas, 7 continents. Right out the gate, I'm just gonna say the weekend is both Americas. Sunday is South America, Saturday is North America. That just kind of works out, I feel like, you know? Monday, instead of getting the freezing, frigid Arctic Ocean, gets freezing, frigid Antarctica. Tuesday's Europe. I think I'm the first person ever to say that sentence. And if I'm not, then I'm the first person ever to say that Tuesday is Europe and Wednesday is Asia. Wednesday's Asia because big day of the week, big continent. So Wednesday's just big. Thursday is Oceania. I know I said Australia for the continent of Oceania when I was talking about the continents in my colors video. That's on me. That's just what I was taught, and I totally messed up there. Friday's Africa, and I don't know why, except for the fact that because Friday's yellow, and I also assigned the color yellow to Africa, I think they just kind of matched up there for me. 7 continents, 7 wonders of the world. This is the 7 new wonders of the world, by the way. I couldn't be asked to do the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Seeing that one of the wonders of the world is Christ the Redeemer, and Sunday is the holy day in Christianity, that kind of just works out that way, I feel like. Monday feels like Machu Picchu. The best analogy for that I can come up with is that Monday can feel like this overwhelmingly large, unscalable mountain sometimes. Tuesday feels like Petra. My best analogy for that one is nothing. Didn't really have a reason for that one. Wednesday's big. The Great Wall of China is big. Thursday goes to Chichen Itza. Friday goes to the Taj Mahal. It also just looks sick as hell. And Friday's a sick as hell day. So, and then Saturday goes to the Colosseum because Saturday is my favorite day of the week, and out of the 7 wonders of the world, I think the Colosseum is my personal favorite. Not to completely change subjects, but last time I named the months as if they were people. So let's do that for the weekdays. And just like last time, I had my friend Junith draw all the weekdays as people. Sunday would be named Samuel. Monday would be named Monica. Tuesday would be named Tina. Wednesday would be Wendy. Thursday kind of throws a wrench into the mix because I don't like Thursday, and I couldn't find a good TH name to match. So I just went with Gretchen. If you're named Gretchen, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a lovely, amazing person. That just matched for me. Friday would go to Phineas, not that Phineas. That's with a PH. This Phineas. Spelled with an F. And then Saturday, despite being a day of the week, would be named Summer, like the season, but also like the name. Once again, all 7 of these were drawn by my friend Junith, and if you have Kara, please go check her out. Her link will be in the description. She does amazing art. All right, I'm definitely gonna sound nuts for this, but for some reason, it's really easy for me to connect days of the week to animals, but specifically farm animals. Sunday feels like a chicken. Monday feels like a cow. And there might be a metaphor in there somewhere. Maybe because cows can be black and white. It's like black and white as in like Monday's either really good or really bad. Maybe it's because Monday's named after the moon, and the moon, when it's a full moon, is completely white, but when it's a new moon, it's completely black. If I had a nickel for every way I could connect Monday to cows in some like strangely insightful way, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that I could do it 2 times. Tuesday feels like a sheep. Wednesday, despite being this big word, feels like an ox, which is not a big word, but it's a big animal, so I guess it checks out still. Thursday feels like a goat, but Thursday is not the goat, the greatest of all time. It's a goat, just a random goat, someone's random goat that nobody cares about and screams all the time. Friday feels like a horse, because the horse's name was Friday. There you go. For those of you that were waiting for that reference, there you go. There it is. And then lastly, Saturday feels like a rooster, which works for 2 reasons. Both Sunday and Saturday are poultry. And then Saturday's the coolest day, and roosters are super colorful and look super cool and all that jazz. You know something that's similar to farm animals that I can also vaguely connect to days of the week? Elements on the periodic table. I lied about them being similar to farm animals. Sunday gets copper. It's a day of the weekend. I feel like it has to be some shiny metallic material. Monday's awful. One could argue that it's toxic, so it gets mercury. Tuesday, don't ask me why, gets helium. Maybe because helium is the 2nd element, and Tuesday's the 2nd day of the work week. I don't know. I know I'm incredibly creative for this. Wednesday is a big word, and aluminium is a big word.
Hey guys, I messed up again. For some reason, I just completely forgot to mention that Thursday is carbon. Like, I just didn't read it at all. So yeah, good to know that I'm on top of things. Anyway.
Friday gets gold because Friday, and then Saturday gets silver, which means that Friday, Saturday, Sunday get gold, silver, bronze, which is like kind of equivalent to how you feel on each day. Like if I were giving them medals based on like ranking them with medals by how good you feel at the end of the day, Friday you feel amazing, so you get gold. Saturday you feel pretty great, so you get silver. And then Sunday you still feel good, but you know that tomorrow's the week, so you get bronze or copper. Was that a good analogy? Probably not. Okay, we're getting a bit off the rails here, so let's switch gears a little. What if I were responsible for changing the way our weeks work altogether? I mean, God forbid, but how many days are in a standard year? 365. So what's a good number of days to dedicate to each week so that it gets broken up evenly? If you said 7, you'd be wrong, so I don't know why that's what they went with, but actually, why are there 7 days of the week? 365 is divisible by 5. So what if we had 5-day weeks instead of 7-day weeks? We'll start with Sunday. Now, obviously, we need to keep the weekend. I'm not that cruel. In fact, since I'm so benevolent, we'll also cut out Monday, making the work week begin with Tuesday. No need to thank me. I like Wednesday, so Wednesday will stay the middle of the week. And then we just skip straight to Friday. And then the 5th and final day of the week would be Saturday. Stop! I know what you're thinking. Pixel, what about leap year? Or you're thinking about how the months wouldn't work anymore, but I didn't account for that, so just pretend it was the first one. Monday would become our new leap year day. So we'd only have Monday every 4 years. And I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty nice. I guess I should do a version where I account for the months changing as well. If we change the week to be 5 days long, that means that 1 year would have 73 weeks in it, which really sucks because if it was 72 weeks, we could split it evenly into all 12 months and get 12 30-day months. But no, instead we're left with this bonus week. Hey, that kind of has a nice ring to it. Okay, the 12 months remain the same, but now they all have 30 days, each split into 6 5-day weeks. But then, at the end of the year, we have bonus week. Okay, yes, I know that this is something that Oates Jenkins did in his calendar video, but I promise I thought of this without meaning to copy him whatsoever. Maybe there was some sort of subconscious influence or something, I don't know. But, like, I swear I thought of this initially and started writing it without thinking of him, and then like halfway through I was like, this sounds familiar. And it turns out that it was familiar. But again, I swear I didn't start it with the intention to copy him. This is a 5-day week that isn't part of any month. It just kind of exists and acts as a whole week of celebration for making it through the year. As a plus, every 4 years for leap year, it becomes a 6-day week. Either that or we can just like tack it on to April or something, I don't know. Okay, now what if we did the inverse? And by that I mean, what if we had 5 weeks, each with 73 days? The first 6 days would remain the same. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then, what if we named some days after months of the year? So we have Janu Day, Febu Day, Mar Day, April Day, May Day, and Hay Day, and Okay Day, and Beret Day, and Chick-fil-A Day. Then we have June Day, July Day, August Day, and then September, October, November, and December. I don't know. Actually, you know what? Just so this makes more sense, let's move September through December's days to spots 7 through 10, just so they make sense name-wise, and then everything else just like shifts down. The 23rd day, because May 23rd is my birthday, would be birthday. That's not narcissistic or self-centered at all. Day 24 would be play day, and then day 25 would be quarter day, because 25 is a fourth of 100, even though there's only 73 days, so I don't know what that's about. But day 26, because 2 times 3 is 6, would be times 3 day. What about math symbols? So we have plus day, minus day, multi-day part 1, multi-day part 2, multi-day part 3, and then divide day. I liked play day. What about more play day? Head day, shoulders day, knees day, and toes day. Actually, go back. Knees day sounded kind of cool. Bees day and bees knees day. Squeeze day, sneeze day, and sleaze day. Glees day, and then glums day. And then plums day. What about colors? So red day, blue day, green day. I think that's already taken. Gay day. Wednesday, but spelled Wednesday. Up day, down day, left day, right day. North day, south day, west day, east day. Greg day. Shout out the Gregs watching. I do like animals. Horse day, ox day, eel day, fox day. Day 64. Well, in Minecraft, a stack of items is 64, so stack day. Frog day. Does 66 have any references in pop culture?
Execute Order 66.
Probably not. I'm just gonna call it order day. Day 67 is shut up day. Hush day, nice day, grub day, why not butterscotch day, super duper day, and then Saturday, because obviously we're not gonna get rid of the weekend. And then for leap year, just tack it on somewhere and call it leap day. I don't know. Okay, well, clearly I'm running out of ideas, but I have one left. What if, and bear with me here, what if we just abolished the week system altogether? But like, instead of having 365 individual days all named different things, what if every day was just Monday?
Hello?
Hey man, have you seen the news today? It's genuinely insane. I have no clue what's going on.
This just in, President Blungus signs an executive order for the abolishment of the weekday format, declaring that all schedules from this point onwards are null and void.
And so, after lots and lots of thinking, I decided that we don't really need the days of the week anymore, and that things would be a lot more go faster if everyone just worked every day. So from now on, every day is Monday. Any questions?
Mr. President!
Mr. President! Hey, the one in the front, that looks really stupid.
What does this mean for working Americans? Does the 5-day work week no longer exist? And how will this affect businesses and the economy as a whole?
I don't like that question. I think I don't like that question. Next question. Not a bad question, please.
There you have it, folks. Monday is the only day of the week you now have to concern yourself with. We'll be sure to report live on this situation and its development in the coming weeks. So in the meantime, stay safe, America, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I post the craziest bear fighting clips on there the world's ever seen. We got polar
Monday
bears,
feels
we
like a
got
cow.
hungry bears,
Loki goes
we
into
got
a
the
machine
bear
and
from
turns into
Ted.
Wednesday.
None of
That's
these
pretty
bears
much
are
the
fighting each other in a
King of the
cage.
bull.
Some of them getting naked.
There's one
They're
hater.
getting freaky in there.
Thursday
Oh,
gets
my
zero.
God. What's she saying, shoddy? This just in, President Blungus signs an executive order announcing the oh my fucking bro, you got me doing English class. Oh my fucking god. That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking formal words, bro. President Blungus signs an executive order announcing the abolishment of the weekday format. I'm getting close. This just in, President Blungus signs an executive order for the abolishment of the weekday format, declaring it my fucking hair won't stay on my face! For the abolishment of the weekday format, declaring all schedules following it null and void. From this point out, fucking bitch, fuck you. This just in, President Blungus signs an executive order for the abolishment of the weekday format, declaring all schedules from here on out null and void. Fucking yes! I hope that works. I'm tired. Can I go home?